If you feel stuck in your coaching business, constantly working but not seeing growth, you're not alone. Most coaches don't realize it's not about doing more. It's about finding that one constraint holding your business back. Once you've identified and fixed the right constraint, growing your business is not just possible, it becomes predictable. Growing a business is not just about the hype, it's about having systems and processes in place to generate a scalable, impactful, and profitable business. Today, I am going to show you how to identify that constraint in your business to ensure that you're solving the right problem. In order to build a successful coaching business, you need to have the right mindset as an entrepreneur and as a CEO. One of the things I want to make sure we're on the same page on is what it takes to be a successful CEO of your coaching business. Now, what do the most successful CEOs have in common? Is it that they're charismatic? Is it that they're the smartest, the ones with the strongest GPAs, the one that went to the best schools? And if you're thinking that, well, you're wrong. Harvard and McKinsey did a huge study. And what they found is that the best CEOs have one thing in common, and that is that they're the best at asset allocation. They think like investors. And for you to be able to build your business, you need to think like an investor. Because the smaller the business you have, the more you have to be able to allocate your resources correctly. Now, what are those resources? All resources that come to one of these three things: time, money, and effort. And in your career coaching business, it is no different. Whenever you're thinking about what to work on your business, you're either allocating your effort because you've been there, done that, your time, or your money, or a combination of all three of them. Now, the question that you need to be asking yourself is, great, now how do I know where to allocate those resources? And the mistake that I want you to avoid making is trying to solve all the problems in your business all at once. You can't prioritize marketing, you can't prioritize sales, and you can't prioritize client success all at the same time, especially when you have a full-time job, a part-time job, or if you're a solopreneur. And this is why we're going to cover this in the theory of constraints. Because anytime that you are facing a problem in your business and you're not clear where you should be prioritizing your time, money, and effort, aka your resources, you can always come down to this graphic to look at where you are, benchmark yourself, and be able to solve the right problem. To me, solving any problem in your business comes down to three steps. Number one is analyzing your data. Number two, comparing it to the graph that's in this video. And number three, focusing all your resources, time, money, and effort into solving that constraint. Because your business will only grow to where the constraint in your business is. So let's dive into the theory of constraint. What you see here is the theory of constraints graph for building a career coaching business. And there's 10 levels from deciding whether you should start your career coaching business to the point of your business where you have your offer, marketing, sales, client success, and operations all systemized, and you're ready to put gasoline in the fire to grow this business to multiple seven figures. So let's start with level one, or the first part of the theory of constraint. And before even starting the business, you need to even understand if you're ready to start the business. And there's a couple of questions that you should be asking. The first one, are you qualified to be a coach? Do you have the relevant experience, whether it's in HR, whether that is being a hiring manager, or that's whether having enough corporate experience where you can help others reach their goal? Look, if you're just doing a coaching business just because you want to be rich, there's hundreds of better business to do so. But if you're looking to be a career coach because you want to make an impact, but also build a profitable business, then you're in the right place. And the first question you should be asked is, have you been there, done that? And have you helped people reach their goals in their career? If you've done that, then keep going on the constraint. The second question that you should be asking yourself is, do you have a safety net when starting your business? You see, you either have 6 or 3 months of savings before going at this full time because it takes time to ramp up your business. Thinking that from one day to another, you're going to have more clients than you can handle is very naive. So either you do this while you're working full time or part time, or you have a financial safety net to be able to build your business. Because just having enough money to cover your bills won't cut it, because starting a business does bring additional expenses. The third question you need to ask yourself is, are you mentally ready for the entrepreneurship roller coaster? You see, it will bring ups and downs. And if you're not mentally ready and don't have a strong support system, you will struggle. It will bring a whole new level of mental anxiety. And trust me, for 3 years of me starting this business, my wife used to call this the dark ages because of the amount of anxiety and sleepless nights that this business brought me while building it. And the fourth thing you need to keep in mind before even starting your business is, do you even have enough time to build this business? To me, I've noticed that if you don't have at least 20 hours a week to invest in this business, it would be very hard to get it off the ground. Yes, you can hire additional people to help you grow your business faster. Yes, you can hire a VA. Yes, you can hire other coaches. But if you don't have at least 20 hours in the beginning to help implement the strategy, to help in marketing, and to deliver the service, you won't be able to do this long term and you will burn yourself out. Now, if you've gone through this list and you say, I got all of the things you've spoken about, Daniel, then congratulations because you're ready to build this career coaching business and you can move on to the next constraint. The second level of the theory of constraint is building a world-class offer. Building a world-class offer is the foundation to your coaching business. Without a strong offer, you're going to have a very difficult time attracting leads, converting them to clients, and delivering a strong service. So if you don't have an offer that's converting tons of inbound leads, then this is the stage for you. When building a strong offer, here's the components that you need to keep in mind. Number one, do you have a clear avatar, ICP slash niche? Do you have a clear understanding on who you're helping and what is the transformation that you're helping them accomplish? When starting out, it is important that you have a very clear niche. It's the only way that you're going to be able to beat the Goliaths of the industry. The riches are in the niches. And if you're wondering what niche I should pick, it is very difficult to cover all of that in this video. But the main piece of advice that I would give you, you should work with a niche that you have already been able to accomplish, specifically your younger self. Once you've identified a clear ICP or niche, the next stage is having a clear transformation. Don't make the mistake of selling individual packages like resumes or interview preps and sell the whole transformation. The bigger the problem that you solve, the more you're going to be able to charge and the better control you have in client success. So whenever helping job seekers on how to get jobs, don't just sell the resume, sell clarity, the resume, the networking, the interviewing, and the salary negotiation. The third is a guarantee. If you don't have hundreds of testimonials where the proof is undeniable, you're going to need to provide a strong guarantee to minimize the risk for your clients to want to work with you. And lastly, promoting your testimonials. The more testimonials and social proof you have, the better and more compelling offer you will have. Once you've established a very strong offer, you're ready for level number 3, which is marketing. Level 3 is establishing a marketing funnel that generates at least 100 leads a month. This is important to do before moving on to anything else because without having clear way to generate predictable leads, you will struggle to generate predictable income. And without a predictable income, you will burn out and eventually quit your coaching business and go back to corporate America. So building this level of the theory of constraints is crucial for the rest of your business. Now, if you're not generating over 100 leads a month in a consistent basis, this is where all your time, money, and effort should be allocated. Because starting the business and understanding your offer can be solved in a couple of days, maybe weeks. Marketing can take months, even years, if not done correctly. In terms of marketing for a career coaching business or even a coaching business selling knowledge base, there's no better way to start than on LinkedIn. Simply because you should fish where the fish are. Because if you're selling to job seekers, if you're an executive coach, a clarity coach, a sales coach, any coach is selling knowledge, you want to be able to sell to people that are on LinkedIn. Now, where do you start? Number one, Start with your profile page. You need to be able to convert your profile page from a resume, which is what generally is set up for now, to a landing page. Your LinkedIn profile will actually be more important than your website. Number two, you need to have a content strategy. Less than 10% of people on LinkedIn are creating content. So there is no better time than now to post on LinkedIn and to grow your audience, your credibility, and be able to attract those leads. And once you have your profile set up and you have a content strategy where you're posting at least 5 days a week, the next stage is you need to implement a lead generation machine. When it comes to leads, there's 3 types of leads that you can get from LinkedIn. One is inbound leads. Best leads convert the best. These are the ones who are messaging you about your service. They maybe saw your post, came across your profile page, and connected with the transformation that you're providing. Those are great, but those are less than 10% of your overall leads. The second type of leads are warm leads. These are individuals who have viewed your profile, liked your post, commented on your post, haven't sent a message to you, but they know who you are. And those are the individuals that you want to be able to reach out to in a DM and start the conversation. And lastly, if you haven't yet gotten to your 100 plus leads a month, then you need to implement a cold outbound messages to your avatar and your niche. This again is why it's important to have a niche, because if you message everyone with a very generic offer, you're not going to get enough reply rates. Once you've implemented all these systems and you're generating over 100 leads a month, then you're ready to turn those leads into sales calls. And that's in step number 4. Step number 4, it's all about turning those leads into sales calls. The big benchmark here is that you want at least 15% of those top of funnel leads, inbound, warm outbound, and cold outbound, to turn into sales calls. Now, if that's naturally happening, it's because you have a strong background, a lot of testimonials, and you're getting a lot of engagement in your profiles. But for the majority of you who are not getting 15% of those leads turn into sales calls, you need to do a little bit more work, and this becomes your constraint. Now, what do you do in this place? Well, number 1, you need to implement a CRM. You need to implement a way to be able to track those leads and keep up with the conversations and be able to bring them down the funnel. Once you have a CRM, you need to be able to implement a lead magnet. A lead magnet is a tool to turn those leads into more interested buyers. It's a way for you to show them that you know what you're talking about and for them to see that you are the authority in the space. It's also one of the best ways to build trust and increase your conversions during the sales call. Now, there's tons of lead magnets that you can do. You can do an ebook, you can have a community, but my favorite one in the career coaching space is to host a live masterclass. We've seen this convert the best because it allows you to build trust in a 1-hour masterclass to let your leads know how you solve their problem and why you are the best person to solve this. Once you implement those things, you should see that your conversion rate from leads to sales calls dramatically increases and will go above 15%. Once you do that, you're ready to move on to the next stage. If you're in this stage, you are getting sales calls. But before we move on to talking about sales, we want to talk about how to ensure that at least 80% of the sales calls scheduled are showing up and are qualified. They're part of your avatar/ICP. Now, if you're already doing this, congratulations, you can move on. But if you're not at 80%, that is the benchmark that you want to have before moving forward. So here's a couple of items to keep in mind that will increase the number to over 80%. 1, do you have a setup email sequence reminding them when the call is? Number 2, is in the reminder sequence, are you adding additional social proof like testimonials or additional lead magnets or information that puts you into why you're the right coach for them? And number 3, are you personally reminding them through LinkedIn or another way so that they don't miss the call? If you implement those little things, you should be able to see this number skyrocket and definitely get above 80%. And once you do that, you're ready to the next stage. Welcome to stage number 6. If you're here, it's because you have the right offer, marketing is working, you're turning those leads into sales calls, those sales calls are showing up and are qualified. Now, the benchmarks that you need to take into account before moving on to the next level is, are you converting at least 25% of your sales calls and collecting at least 25% of the cash up front? Now, if you're converting over 40%, This also is a bottleneck and is a clear sign that you need to raise your prices. But for the vast majority of you who are watching this and are not closing at 25%, well, then this is the bottleneck you need to be solving. Remember, when we talk about solving this bottleneck, we're talking about you allocating your time, money, and resources into solving this constraint. When looking to improve our sales closing rate, here's the main things that you need to keep in mind. Number one, are you following a sales strategy? Do you have a script? Is there some level of consistency here? The biggest mistake that I see coaches make when they get into this bottleneck is that they're taking every single call and not having a plan. And depending on their mood, depends on how their closing rate is. And yes, sales is a game of conviction, but you need to have a plan. You need to be able to add structure in the sales process so that you can generate predictable results. So having a sales script is really important. Number two, you need to have consistency in a pricing model. This goes back to having a clear offer. And number three, you need to be very good at overcoming objections. It's going to be very difficult for people to just close on the call. And so, what are the main objections that you need to be able to handle? Well, I don't have time to cover all of them here, but the three main objections that you need to be able to overcome is one, belief in themselves on being able to accomplish their goal. Two, belief in you if you're the right coach for them. The second objection is a logistical objections. Objections on whether this is the right time or not to start working with a coach. This can also be is I need to go talk to a husband or my wife or somebody else. And the third objection, which is the number one objection you're going to get, is money. If you don't have a plan to overcome these objections, you're setting yourself for failure, and it'll be very difficult for you to close over 25%. If you've made it this far, congratulations, because you just accomplished what 95% of career coaches don't get to do, which is phase one of the theory of constraint. At this point, you have a very clear offer. You have a marketing strategy that generates over 100 leads. You're turning at least 15% of those leads into sales calls, and 80% of them are showing up and are qualified. And those ones that are showing up, over 25% of them are turning into clients. At this point, you have a predictable marketing and sales process that generates predictable revenue. And that's amazing. But now, in the next phase, we're going to talk about how to deliver a quality service so that you can scale your business and be more profitable. So let's talk about phase two and the last four steps of this theory of constraint. Phase two starts with delivering a high quality service that is scalable. This is where you build your program. Until now, your focus has not been client success. And the best way for you to have delivered that service was through one-on-one service. But as you probably know by now, if you're watching this, you're overwhelmed with the number of clients that the marketing and sales strategies have been generating. And you're tired of trading your time for money. So what we need to do here is to build a scalable coaching program. Now, there's many ways you could build a scalable coaching program, but my favorite one is a high-ticket hybrid program. And it's in this step that you need to be now prioritizing client success, building out the systems and processes in client success to be able to deliver a scalable service. The best way I want you to think about solving this constraint, if you're following a hybrid high-ticket offer, is to think about when you go to the doctor's office for your yearly checkup. Does the doctor check you in and check for your insurance? Is the doctor calling you to the back and doing the starting work, like putting you on the scale and checking your virals? No, it's not, right? You have a team in the doctor's office. And because of that, the doctor is able to help more than one client in an hour. And so it's the same way that you need to think about your career coaching business. You're the doctor, and you should be only doing doctor things. And so building a career coaching business where there is a systems and processes and there's people associated with helping them in different parts of your program is going to facilitate the amount of clients coming in and allowing them to get the results that you want. Once you're able to build a program that includes having online modules that covers the 80% of the things that are the same for other clients, having systems and processes to be able to schedule those one-on-one calls that covers the 20% that is uniquely to their background goals and aspirations, and then you have a good client success systems is where you can now focus on the operational parts of your business. Even though the client success is only one part of this theory of constraint, This constraint is one of the largest ones to overcome. It might take you months, if not year, to build it out. So it's really important that you don't rush this constraint, because if you don't have a good product, long term, you don't have a business. The next stage after client success, it's about building a team. By now, you understand that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And that is why it's important to build a team. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to build a 15 plus employees team like the one that I built at Opni, but I do think it's important that you build a team to the size of the business that you want. And this is where you need to start thinking about your core values, your mission, your vision, and the org chart structure that your company needs to have. Now, if you're looking to build a multiple six-figure career coaching business, you could do this with you and one or maybe two virtual associates or VAs. Now, if you're looking to build a seven-figure career coaching business and build like a career coaching empire, and that's what motivates you, then you might need to bring additional coaches or doctors to help support you on delivering the service, and you might need to bring in a salesperson to handle the sales calls. But this is the part of the theory of constraint where you start thinking this type of decisions and making sure that you're building the infrastructure in the team to be able to then scale. The next stage in the theory of constraints, it's making sure that your finances are in order. That even though your business is now growing, you might be doing 40, 50, 60, $70,000 a month by the time that you're at this stage, that you have the right KPIs, that you're tracking your financials, you have a clear and organized profit and loss statement, and that you're looking at the margins. At this point of your business, if you're not having at least 50% profit margins, then you need to take the time to organize your finances. You need to understand where are your expenses and where are you allocating those resources. Remember, focus on one constraint at a time. And if you have a career coaching business, you want this to be a cash cow. This is the part about making sure that your business is profitable. It is important that you do that because in a career coaching business, it's not one of those businesses that are easy to sell to investors. But what the good thing about these types of businesses is that they're highly profitable and highly scalable. Once you have at least 50% profit margin to 70% profit margin, now you're ready to move on to the final stage before you can really blow this business to the next levels. And this stage is making sure you have the right board of advisors. Now, what do I mean by the right board of advisors? Up to this point, you have been playing offense. You have been focusing on acquiring clients through marketing, selling them through sales, delivering a scalable, profitable, impactful business through client success and operations. But now your business is growing and you need to start thinking of defense. What's defense? Well, this is where you want to make sure that you have a really good CPA or certified public accounting. This is where you want to make sure that you have a lawyer on retainer and that contract that you've been using that you got from ChatGPT has actually been reviewed by a real lawyer. This is where you need to be thinking about insurance and liability, because now your business is big enough where people might want to go after you. And so you want to make sure you have a professionals around you that are giving you the right support. To me, think about building your Avengers. You need to have a CPA, a lawyer. You also need to have insurance for your business. And I would advise you to making sure that you have a good coach or consultant who's been there, done that, and can support you in scaling your businesses. At this point, you have concluded the theory of constraints for career coaches and are now doing $70,000 to $85,000 a month. This is where now your business goes from being a teenager to being an adult, and then you're ready to make this business to the next level. So let's recap phase two. In phase two, we started with building client success. We started on building systems and processes and bringing in the team to be able to deliver this in a scalable manner without affecting the delivery of your service, and making sure that if anything, we're increasing the results of your clients, which then leads to more testimonials, which then goes back to marketing and sales to make it all easier. You've also started thinking about the team that you've built, right? You've already started making the right hires that will allow you to scale your business, scale your time, scale your impact, and scale your revenue. You also made sure your finances were in order, that you have at least 50% profit margin. And lastly, you build your Avengers of professionals to help you make sure that you're protecting all the money that you're generating in your business and ensuring that you're ready to scale. Now, this is where the two concepts that we talked about in this video come together. You need to be a great CEO, and great CEOs are the best at allocating resources, time, money, and effort. And you need to go back to the theory of constraint to identify where you are, and remember to prioritize solving one main constraint at a time. And if you're wondering, Daniel, but I don't even know how to solve this constraint, well, here is the formula. You use the benchmarks, you're looking at the data to identify where you are stuck, and then you prioritize your time, money, effort, or a combination of all three to solving that. And this is where you need to decide. Is it doing it by myself and not hiring anybody to help me do this the fastest and best route for me? Or are you leaving money on the table by not bringing in an expert, whether it's a full-time employee, a part-time employee, and a consultant? This is what you need to be thinking about on how you allocate those resources. Because life is a trade-off of time and money, and you need to be able to do the math to identify when is it the right time to invest using my money, or when is it the right time to use my time to solve this constraint. Follow these systems and you never have to worry about getting clients, scaling your business, and making lots of money. I've spoken with hundreds of career coaches and worked with dozens of them. And the ones that take action on these systems get massive results. If this is resonating for you and you want our help to grow your business, then let's talk.